Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Wednesday today, and on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Pacific, I share a technique with you. It's always something a little different. Sometimes it's something that I've talked about in a previous live and decided that I should, maybe show you how a technique is done. This time around, I am showing you how to use the masks that are part of the Enduring Beauty bundle. Now, if you played with the masks that were in the mini catalog with the sunflower, where they're layering and adding depth on top of one another, then you know how these ones are used. They're really cool. There are 5 masks in this particular, hi Cindy, in this particular bundle, and they all layer on top of each other to create this absolutely gorgeous large flower image. And you can use it with the stamp set or just on their own. So today I'm going to actually use them without the stamp set. I really like the look of them without the black lines of the stamp set. Now, maybe if I use something other than tuxedo black, it would be better. But I just really like the look of them with just the mask. Hey, Pam. So I'm going to show you how to use that. So let me switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. So this is the Enduring Beauty bundle, and you may have missed it because it's not one that caught my eye, hey, Kathy, necessarily, although I love masks. So this is the stamp set. So you've got this really large image. This would be a great stamp set, I think, for doing some paper piecing because it's big enough, the flowers you could stamp and then cut out. Some great sentiments. I love this font when they mix it with the block font and then the script. Then you have the dies, so you can cut out that large image. You've got some extra dies to cut leaves. I love this. I'm going to use this layer or this label die. Some extra ones. The fact that you've got 4 leaf dies here is amazing. And then you've got these masks. There's 5 of them. Now you can buy them so you can buy them separately. You can buy the stamp set, you can buy the dies, you can of course buy the bundle, and then you can get the masks. So let me show you a little bit about these masks. So they all color basically different parts of that image. And it's going to be hard to see, but one thing, they have a notch at the top, which is really useful for lining them up. And the second thing they have is a number. And that basically tells you in what order you can do your coloring. Now, you don't have to. So sometimes I like to do all of the flower image first, and then I'll come back and do the leaves, but they are numbered 1 to 5. So if you do them in that order, I guess it makes it easy, but sometimes I'll play around and do all the leaves first. Okay, so that's the dies. Now let me show you what I'm going to use. I am going to use this color combination of Bubble Bath and Moody Mauve. I really like that color combination. I've used Bubble Bath and Berry Burst a lot. This one I've already gone ahead and cut out using the largest of the, what are these called? Perennial postage. I've lost the front cover to this somewhere. Perennial postage dies. So it's the largest one, and it basically cuts a piece. So if you cut a piece that's 4 inches by 5 1/4, that will be plenty big for this first top layer. So then I'm going to take, once I've done my coloring with my masks, I'm going to use the second largest to cut out that piece. Okay. So let's do some masking. So I've got 2 pieces. Actually, I've got a piece of basic white cardstock. It's bigger than it needs to be, but because I'm going to cut it out with that die, I wanted to give myself some room. Now I like to use something to adhere this. Actually, the first thing we're going to do, I like to use something to adhere this to I'm using in this case my glass mat. I'm going to use some Post-it note tape. But the other thing I'm going to do, so if you don't have the glass mat, you can use grid paper. So for example, I've just got some of these sheets. So I'm going to use number 1 first. So you can either lay it on a piece of grid paper and mark. I like to use a pen in this case on this grid paper, and I just mark my notch. And I also go down to the bottom right corner and I just draw a couple of lines around that corner, and that helps me. So yes, I've got the notch, but I've also got this lines down here that I can then line up my next mask when I need to. Now, if you've got the glass mat, this is easy to clean, so you can use it like grid paper. So I've just got this on here, and I'm just going to take, this is just the Stampin' Write markers, waterproof. It will wipe off of here with just, you know, it just cleans off because it's water-based. And so I'm just going to put my notch in there. That's why these glass mats are amazing. And then I'm going to draw my lines around. If you wanted, you can draw lines around more of it, so it just helps you line that up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this behind my, so I'm going to line this up. Okay, I want to make sure that I am getting this in square, because I do want to cut this out. So I'm just going to, hopefully that will work. I'll be able to cut it out. So I'm going to, first of all, let's take that off. Let's get that back in kind of where I want it to go. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of Post-it note tape and hold that piece of basic white on there. And then I'm going to put my number 1 mask on. And again, I'm going to use a piece of Post-it note tape just to hold that in place like that, so it doesn't shift around. So remember, if you were stamping, if you were going to use the big stamp and stamp in Tuxedo Black, you would do that first. But because I am going to just use the images, I'm going to, you don't stamp it. So I'm going to use Bubble Bath. I like the Bubble Bath too, Pam. All right, so I've got one of my small blending brushes, and I'm just going to tap and then start off and just color. You can make them as dark as you want. Remember to start, you can tap onto your glass mat or onto grid paper or onto the lid of your ink and start off of the image, so that you don't get kind of a dark spot on your image. There we go. So that's Bubble Bath. Okay, so we're going to gently lift this. If I could get my, I'm going to use a take your pick tool because I can't lift that up. There we go. So I am going to do what I said. So I'm not going to do them in order. I'm going to do them in, get all of the flower done first, because I really want to see what this flower looks like. So again, line up the notch, line up your corners, use your Post-it note tape. And for this one, I'm going to use Moody Mauve. And so this is just adding some detail to our flowers. And again, you can make them as light or dark. It's always a bit scary when you do this. It's the first time I've played with this, so you're seeing this the first time. All right, so there's my flowers. Isn't that pretty? I just absolutely love this, when you can just kind of color. So that was number 3. And the next one I'm going to do is number 5, which is the middle of the flower. And I had thought I was going to use, line up my notches. I thought I was going to use, what did I think I was going to use? Wild wheat, but I'm not, because it's not going to be dark enough. So what am I going to use? I am going to use debating about what color to use. I think I'm going to pull out Berry Burst because I love Berry Burst, and it's going to be the center of the flowers. I need something fairly dark. First time I did this, I kind of, when you lay it on, you think, oh my gosh, I'm coloring over, but you're not, because you're just coloring through these little spots on the centers, or in this case, the center of my flower. So I'm going to lift this up. So probably, I don't know, we'll see how that goes. I may add some Wink of Stella to this in the end, just because. Okay, so now we're going to work on some leaves. Close these up. So this is number 4. So again, line up that notch, line up the other lines, the corners that you drew. Put your piece of Post-it note or washi tape. And then I pulled out Old Olive. What's the last part? So I'm going to use, I'm going to use Old Olive for the solid part of my flower. And I'm going to use soft seafoam for I'm going to use soft seafoam for the solid part of my leaf, and Old Olive for what are the darker parts of it. So again, always cool to see how this turns out. It doesn't matter if it's not all the same kind of shade of color, same depth of color. Makes it look more realistic. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh. Okay, now that was Old Olive. So the last one we're going to use is number 2. You know, you're going to get the same effect if you do them in the order that they Stampin' Up! Has put them on, but I just kind of like to see the flower all done. There we go. And the last one we're going to do, I should probably clean this off a little bit. I'm not very good at cleaning my blending brushes. Hey, Mern. So I'm just going to kind of clean that off a little bit. So this is soft seafoam. So this is going to be pretty light, but it'll kind of go with the bubble bath, which is kind of light too. So I've been cutting kits and things today. So getting ready for our Creativity Abounds Stamp Camp, which is coming up on the weekend of the 9th and 10th in North America. And it's an amazing stamp camp. We're using the Notes of Nature bundle and then the coordinating designer series paper. So if you haven't registered for that and you're interested in it, what you do is you purchase the 4 products that you need through my online store, and you get 13 make and takes, plus you get invited to a Facebook group where we share 13 additional projects. It's amazing. You end up with 26 projects using this suite, and I've been spending the morning cutting the kits to be ready for that. And so if you haven't registered, there's still time. I'm cutting a couple of extra kits. So if you're interested, reach out to me. If you don't live in Canada and you're interested, you can reach out and I will give you the name of a demonstrator in whatever market you're in. If you're in Canada and you're interested in registering, again, reach out to me. These need to go in the mail on Monday. So I need to get them all ready to go by Monday. So, okay, so see how it is easy? I've just used a baby wipe. You could use the cleaning cloth that comes with it, but so easy to clean off this glass mat. And again, this glass mat you can get if you actually become part of the Stampin' Up! Community during celebration. So cool. Now, isn't that gorgeous? So easy to color. And I think, yes, so I'm going to maybe cut off a little bit of the leaves, but if that's okay, I'm going to just cut that. I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So this is the second largest of the perennial postage dies that it goes along with the perennial postage bundle, and which is part of the painted lavender bundle. So I'm just using a little bit of Post-it note tape to hold that in place. So this is the second largest. Yeah, it is so pretty, Cindy, and so easy to do. Makes it look like you're an artist and that you've colored it all and painted it yourself. Okay. I've never tried to watercolor with masks. I wonder how that would turn out. Kind of cool to try. All right. So let's bring in all of our supplies. So we've got the hard part done. So my card base is a bubble bath, and it's 4 1/4 by 11. I don't know about you, but I seem to have a favorite. I seem to favorite tent fold cards that are cut 4 1/4 by 11. Don't know why. Instead of the booklet, I do both, but I tend to favor these. So I've scored that. It's 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. So we'll just fold into the mountain or the raised line and use our bone folder. And then I've got this piece of Moody Mauve that I cut out of using the largest of those dies, and then the flower like that. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Okay, I've got something for the inside of the card that looks like I'm going to have to trim it. And then I've got, so I'm going to cut out, let's see, what sentiment am I going to use first of all? So there's some great sentiments on here. Holding you close in my heart. That's a really lovely one. So let's use that one. I think I've used that one already. I think that's it there. Yep, there it is there. So I'm going to stamp that on this basic white cardstock, and I'm going to stamp it in Moody Mauve, I think. Like that. Now this is a photopolymer. So if you don't have a glass mat, you want to make sure you're stamping on a cushy subject. Oh, that's okay, Pam. I'm glad you could join for part of it. So yeah, you want to stamp it on a cushy. So I use my piercing mat usually with photopolymer. I'm finding that the piercing mat actually works quite well to stamp the images on. Now, there are some of these Post-it dies that will actually work. And since I've kind of got that shape going on, I'm going to use the this one that will fit. I'm just going to put that on like that, and then I'm going to cut that out. Let's bring in my little mini. It's easy. All right, and then I'm going to cut a second one of these dies out using from Bubble Bath. And we'll use that as a matte layer. All right, there we go. I was going to use the die from the Enduring Hearts, but since I've got this kind of shape going on, I might as well use it. Okay, so this is going to be a matte behind this, and the way you do that, you can decide whether you want it to be on the ends like that. So if we cut it in half, or you can put it top and bottom. I think I'm going to put it on the ends. So I'm going to cut my die cut in half like that. And then I'm going to put some glue on the ends on the back of my stamped image, and I'm going to just glue glue those pieces, and you can kind of get them lined up quite easily with these postage note dies. So I'm just going to hold that until it's tacky and stuck. And then you can do the same on this end. Oopsie, come on. I'll lift it up and try and get those lined up like that. So it almost looks like you have the same width of die, but just longer when you do this. Okay, so let's get putting our card together. Now, this is the bubble gum. Bubble gum. I say that all the time. I think this should be called bubble gum, but it's not. It's called bubble bath. This is the bubble bath ribbon that is part of the sheer ribbon combo. It comes in bubble bath, lemon lolly, and azure afternoon. So I'm going to just take this and I'm going to make sure I don't get too stingy with it. And I'm going to tie a bow. And I'm going to make sure the bow is on the left-hand side. And when I tie a bow, I always turn my card base upside down so that I can keep my tails going in the direction I want them. Otherwise, I find my tails go every which way but the way I want them to go. So there we go. So we've got that. And then I can fuss with my bow like this. Tie it, kind of pull it tight, and then you can kind of just get it into position and give it a good. And I actually gave myself lots of ribbon. I was on a class the other day. I guess I realized as I was doing the Zoom that I was kind of a little stingy with the ribbon I gave everybody. Okay, and so you can twist and make this, and if it doesn't lay like you want it to lay, use a glue dot. So just pick up a glue dot with your take your pick tool and just kind of tuck it underneath, and then that helps to kind of get the bow in the position you want it to be. Like that. Isn't that pretty? Let's trim that end a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now this can go on. Now, often, I usually tell you to use Stamp and Seal when you've got ribbon, but because this is tied around the front, I'm less concerned about it coming undone. So I'm just going to use the liquid glue, get that positioned, like that, and we're going to use on our sentiment. Now I'm going to use dimensionals. I'm going to use more than I typically would, but I'm going to make sure I've got a dimensional that's on the seam where I glued that other piece on, just so it gives it a little bit of extra protection from falling off. Now let's see if I can. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like that. And I can adjust my bow so it doesn't cover my sentiment. There we go. Okay. Now, definitely have to have some embellishments on this. So I pulled out the iridescent foil. So these are probably, I think they're really pretty. They're iridescent and they've got some foil inside of them. They come in 2 sizes. And so this will look pretty on here. If you want to, you can take your, oh, I'm going to find the right color. I'm looking for my, there it is. I'm looking for Berry Burst. So I'm going to use the dark Berry Burst. And I'm just going to color these. So I'm going to color 2 of the large ones. So to use gently use the brush end of your blends. Don't do it too hard because you'll bend it. And you can just color these with your blends. And that way it coordinates a little bit more. Now I've lost the backing on this one. Let's put those down there like that. And a little one. Come on. just makes them pop a little bit more than if I had just used them as they are with the iridescent. Okay, now I do need something for the inside of my card. And I'm pretty sure my piece of basic white is the wrong size. So this should be 4 inches by, yep, it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. That's because I used the one I was going to use for the inside of the card. I used it for my my masking. I wasn't really watching. Okay, so now what shall we put? I don't know what to put on the inside of my card. Maybe there are these little tiny flowers on the stamp set, which has managed to disappear under all of my stuff. Okay, I don't know where my stamp set went to. It was in here when we started out. I'll have to find it, and I will do the inside of the card once I find the inside of my stamp set. All right, we'll finish that off. I will just adhere this to the inside so I have an inside, and then I'll finish it. At least I have the inside done. I'm sure the stamps are somewhere underneath all of this mess I have going. It doesn't take long for a mess to happen when you're kind of working away. All right, so there's the card. It just goes to show you how easy it is to create some really pretty images with these masks. I've seen some really pretty images or some cards where they've actually left the flower white and then done the inside with a really light color instead of the way I did it with the Moody Mauve. And it looks really pretty too. So I'll have to play around with that. But I like that card the way it is. And again, if you wanted to use the stamped image, you would just have the image just more definite of the image, and maybe it's a little bit more detail of the image. But either way, it's a really pretty way to create a pretty card. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Now, tomorrow is my Thursday. It's a mystery challenge, so stay tuned for what the clues are. I post those in the morning, and then hopefully you'll join me and make a card or a project using the clues from the mystery. All right, so, and again, if you're interested in the Creativity Abounds Stamp Camp, or you want more information on it, reach out. You can leave a comment and I'll get back to you, or send me an email if you've got that. You can contact me through my website. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me today. Hope you have a great day. Happy stamping. Bye.